Cobra Commander, he is the enemy. He's the enemy of G.I. Joe.
He's escaping!
He's escaping in the Cobra Claw. Get the Nick Jaws and get him aboard the Skyhawk.
Introducing Puke from Hasbro.
Hey all you action figure enthusiasts out there, JC here, and for today I'm going to be taking a look at the first wave of G.I. Joe classified retro cardback figures. This is part of the main line, so these aren't the same as the Walmart exclusives ones that we got in the last few years, and I'm going to go over the differences between those Walmart ones, which were not very good quality as far as the cardbacks, and these new ones that Hasbro's doing, again, as kind of mainline releases. So the first three figures in this wave are Duke, Scarlett, and Recondo. And again, the retro cardbacks reminiscent of the original A Real American Hero toy line with the same type of artwork on the front, and the figures are clearly displayed. And then on the back, you have file cards for all three characters, which is, you know, again, a nice nod to the original A Real American Hero line. And then it shows you all the figures in the first wave. So what makes these new retro cardback figures better than the Walmart ones or even the Cobra Commander figure that came with the HasLab Hiss Tank? Well, basically what it comes down to is the quality of cardboard that Hasbro's using on these new cardbacks is much thicker than the original Walmart ones. So for instance, you can see on this Walmart Gung Ho figure this crease here on the card back, and it's almost impossible to get a hold of these Walmart ones without actually having some type of crease or bend or damage to the card back, and that's because the card backs are very thin, so almost paper-like, as opposed to the much thicker cardboard that you are seeing with these new figures. So these new ones are definitely going to stand up a lot better to things like shipping or just sitting on the shelves and people, you know, handling the figures and stuff. So again, with these new ones, which is much more in keeping with what you see with like the Marvel Legend retro cardback figures, things like that. Again, Hasbro is just using a much better quality cardboard on these new cardbacks. And then here's a look at the Cobra Commander that came with the HasLab Hiss Tank. And even though with this one, I didn't have any damage on the cardback because Hasbro just, you know, managed to pack it a lot better in the Hiss Tank. But again, it is still using a pretty thin cardboard. So this new cardback is going to stand up to, you know, getting damaged a lot better than even the Cobra Commander one. Okay, now before we open these up, and I got to be honest with you, I have, you know, kind of been hesitant to want to open these. In fact, I may end up buying a second round of these just so I can keep them on the cardbacks, because I really do like the whole retro feel to these. So I may keep, you know, I don't usually do that these days just because of prices, but with these G.I. Joe retro cardback figures, I'm definitely thinking about, you know, getting doubles of each figure that they end up doing in this line just so I can keep a set of them mint on card. But before we open these up so I can show you the actual figures inside, let's go to a message from our sponsor, Big Bad Toys. Okay, so here's a look at the figures out of the packaging along with the accessories. Now, all of the accessories that come with Recondo will actually fit on the Recondo figure. Duke has an extra rifle, which is reminiscent of the rifles that they used in the cartoon. And then he has the rifle, that same type of rifle that came with the original toy. He also comes with an extra pair of closed-fisted hands. And then Scarlett has the most accessories. She has two different ponytails. So I have one of the ponytails attached to the figure's head. And Scarlett, you know, the original figure actually had short hair. So if you want to keep it in keeping with the original figure, you probably won't use either ponytail. She also comes with a backpack with two rifles. So again, she gets a rifle that looks like one of the ones that was used in the cartoon. She also comes with this, I don't know if this is an M16. It's not an M16, but I don't know the name of this rifle, but this is an extra rifle that she comes with, which is kind of weird because it's not a type of rifle that I really kind of equate with Scarlett, nor did it come with the original toy or anything, but nevertheless, it does come with that. She also comes with a pistol, but she does not have a holster for the pistol. She has a knife. She does have a sheath for the knife. She has a quiver that's attached to her belt, so you can stick the arrows. You do get extra arrows with the figure, and then of course she has her signature crossbow. The backpack you can only use if you're keeping her hair short. If you use the ponytail, either the ponytails, then it's much more difficult to put the backpack on her. And you can put these, if you're going to put the backpack on her, then you can also put both rifles on the sides of the backpack if you want to. Now each figure also comes with a figure stand, so this is in keeping with the old figure stands that came with the 25th anniversary line that Hasbro did for the 3 3/4 inch stuff back in the day. You do not have names on the face or on the stand, so you can pretty much, they're generic. They just have the G.I. Joe logo. The Cobra one, the ones that come with Cobra figures might have the Cobra symbol on it. I'm not sure, but they don't actually have names like on the 25th anniversary line. But these are pretty good if you want, figure stands that don't take up a lot of space on your shelf. These actually work pretty good. Now the Walmart figures came with these stands. The retro Cardback Walmart figures did, but these are not something that are included with the regular figures in the line. So it is kind of a nice little extra addition that they give you. Okay, now let's take a closer look at Duke. So Duke, again, he has two rifles. He has the one that's reminiscent of the rifle that came with the original Duke action figure back in the 80s. And then he has this one that looks pretty much like all the rifles that G.I. Joe used in the cartoon. Though this has extra coloring detail that you actually didn't see in the cartoon. You have the black stock here in the back, and then the rest of the gun is kind of a camo green type color that does match his pants pretty good. So that is nice. Again, the Scarlett one has same type of rifle that comes with Scarlett, though different coloring. So you have more of a brown stock on the back here, and then it's not quite as green. It's a little bit lighter. It's more of a beige color than green on the Scarlett rifle. So they're kind of mixing up the colors on these, though it's again cool that they're including these because if you watch the original cartoon, pretty much everybody, almost all the Joes, use these same rifles. Now this Duke figure does come with a helmet like the original figure did, though you almost never saw Duke wear a helmet in the cartoon or even in the comics, but again, you do get a helmet. However, I will say that this helmet has a visor on it, which is not something the original Duke figure came with. This visor is kind of in keeping with what you would see with like a short fuse figure. Some of the other guys had these helmets with the clear visor pieces, so we'll probably be seeing these again. But again, Duke does come with a helmet. He also comes with a pair of binoculars. Again, not something you ever really saw used in the cartoons or comics, but it is something that was included with the original figure. And then he also has a backpack, which is in keeping with the original toy. It's done with beige colors. You've got the cantinas on both sides. You have the shovel, which is not removable, but it is a different color. It's a dark green color, and they've actually included some writing on it as well. So I don't think the writing was on the original figure, but I could be wrong about that. But again, it is, this backpack is very much in keeping with the original figure, though again, something you really never saw Duke have. He never usually had a backpack on or anything like that. Now he has this bandolier strap, which is a separate piece. It's done with a dark green, and then you've got their grenade, which is done with black, so you've got some nice detail there. That's pretty much the only kind of paint detail you have is the black grenade. Everything else is just painted that dark green. And then he's got pouches on his belt, which are painted brown. The belt buckle is green, just like the rest of the belt, but again, you do have some coloring there on the pouches. Now, he does have a working gun holster, and he comes with a pistol, so the pistol is done with just a black plastic, but it does fit nice and tight in there. He's got, some pouches sculpted on his pants. He has a knife and a sheath on his ankle. So on his left ankle, he has that. And the knife is done with a brown handle. You do have the gold tip on the handle. So again, just a little bit of extra paint detail. The blade is done with a metallic silver, so that looks pretty good. And again, the knife does fit nice and tight in the sheath. And the sheath and the holster are separate pieces on the figure, but I haven't had any issue with them really kind of moving up and down on the figure's legs. So they're nice and tight, even though they are separate pieces. Duke also has the American flag on his right shoulder. That's in keeping with the original figure. And he's wearing just that bright beige shirt. He does have some extra paint detail on the collars with the green. So that is something that was not included on the original figure, but just nice extra detailing. And then head sculpt wise is pretty good. He has some wash in his hair, so it's not just straight blonde yellow hair for blonde hair. You do have some nice wash detail. His eyebrows are a darker color than his hair, but that's in keeping with the card art. And he has a pretty serious expression on his face. He's not smiling or anything. But overall, I think they've done a pretty good job with this, capturing the likeness of Duke with this head sculpt. Okay, now moving on to Scarlett. So Scarlett's head sculpt, I don't think, it's not horrible, but it's not fantastic either. But I will say, it is better than the Super 7 Scarlett that we recently got. And I even kind of like it a little bit better than the first Scarlett that they did for the classified line, which I'll show you in just a moment. She definitely has much darker hair than that first Scarlett, again with some wash. So I like that. But I don't know. It might be the eyes that are a little bit off. Again, it's not horrible to me, but it's not the best female head sculpt I've seen either. Now she is wearing some earrings. As I said, you can have her with this is one of the ponytails that she comes with, and this is the one I prefer, and it just plugs into the back of the figure's head. It is kind of a rubber type material, and again, because the original figure had short hair, if you want to keep the look of the original figure, you do have that hole there, but you can kind of have it, it's not too noticeable because the hole is kind of on the bottom of her hair if you prefer the short look. And then also, if you're going to go with the short look, then you can use that backpack. It doesn't really work very well if you've got the ponytail, but if you go with the short hair look, she can definitely wear the backpack. Though, again, the original figure did not have a backpack, so I'm not sure why they decided to give her that, but there you go. And then you also have the second ponytail, which kind of sticks out in the back a little bit more. So just a little bit different hairstyle. So it's kind of interesting. I think they gave us two different ponytails, but there you go. And it just plugs into the back of the head like that. Her crossbow unfortunately comes in two pieces. They always do this these days. I really don't like it because it often easily falls apart. But that front portion of the crossbow does plug into the gun itself. And also, one thing I want to note, it's kind of weird, is they did not include any kind of bowstring on this one. So, I don't know, it's kind of weird they didn't include that. You do get the arrow, so you get this kind of trick arrow, which looks like a grapple arrow. So the other three arrows that are included are basically all the same. They're just normal looking with arrows. Scarlett had a bunch of trick arrows before, even Hawkeye. I would say Scarlett was the first one that kind of had the trick arrow gimmick. And the arrows, the one grapple arrow is not going to fit very well in the quiver, but the other three definitely fit in there. It's not that you don't have space, it's just this grapple thing sticks out wide enough that you're not going to be able to easily get it in the hole there. So I would say, you probably want to keep the trick arrow on the actual crossbow. And, all three arrows do fit on there. You just kind of plug them in there like that. So, but the trick arrow is probably going to be the one that you want to keep on the crossbow and then put the other arrows into the actual quiver. But again, I really don't like that they make this piece come apart because it's not as bad as on the first G.I. Joe Classified Scarlett, that if you look at the crossbow wrong, that front piece falls off. But it definitely, I've had some tendency to have it, when I start kind of messing with it, have that piece just kind of come off. And then again, the quiver is attached to her belt, so that's not something you can remove on this figure. And she does have the knife sheath and the knife. So this knife does not have as much detail as the one that came with Duke, but it does fit nice and tight. She also, as I mentioned, has a pistol, but no place to actually put it, no gun holster or anything, so it's kind of pointless to me for her to have the pistol. Very reminiscent of the original figure with this kind of mustard yellow coloring on the boots and on her shirt piece. And you notice here, like this, it looks like she's wearing like a bathing suit over her outfit, and that's actually kind of in keeping with the card art. So, you know, I don't know, it's kind of weird, but again, that is kind of keeping with the card art. She has the red here on the shoulder. Again, that's in keeping with the original figure. She's got the gas grenade on this side, which is in keeping. It's sculpted on there. She has the little pistol on her glove, which is not removable. Again, in keeping with the original figure. And then she has the throwing stars on the one. This side, the right hand, there's nothing on the gloves or anything. So she's got both the pistol and the throwing stars sculpted on the left glove. And finally, we have Recondo. So if you have the Tiger Force Recondo that Hasbro did as a Target store exclusive, this is the same figure, just repainted in his traditional colors and outfit. But again, the figure itself is the same figure that we got before. So if you have that one, you're pretty familiar with this one. He has the backpack. I will say this backpack does fall out easily on his back, so just note that. You've got the two colors. You've got the green, and then you've got the brown for the roll-up, sleeping bag. So you got some color differentiation there. He's got the canister, the water cantina sculpted there on the back of the backpack. And then he has his rifle that is reminiscent of the original toy with the wrappings for the jungle. Even have some wrapping here on the end. I will note with these weapons, the back stock pieces, same goes for Scarlett, is it's a very thin plastic. So that's good in that, when you're putting the figure in the figure's hand, depending on the pose, this piece can sometimes get, caught up on the figure's arm. So it's good that it has some mobility. But especially with the crossbow, this feels like you could easily break this back piece off if you're not careful. And it's kind of the same on the Recondo rifle. It's probably the same with the Target exclusive one if you have that one, but I just wanted to note that. Now, he also has the removable magazine on the gun, and he has the front holster, which he does have a pistol, which is done with just a gray plastic. It does fit nice and tight there. He's got the compass here, down here, which is done with a metallic gold. So the rest of the belt's just done with a dark brown. Same with the holster piece. He's got this symbol here, this military symbol here on his left shoulder. I don't remember if the original figure had that or not. And then he's also wearing a wristwatch. So overall detail is good. Also, he's got this machete holster or sheath on his left leg, done with that dark brown with the pouches and everything sculpted. He's got the machete for, basically as he's doing his way through the jungle so he can cut out all the vegetation and everything. So that's pretty good. He's got the pouch on this side. He's got the camo pattern on the pants. And then he's got the dark brown boots with the black highlights on them. So that all looks pretty good. Head sculpt, again, this is the same head sculpt that we saw with the Tiger Force one. It is not what I would say exactly in keeping with the original figure. I don't remember the original Recondo, even though his hat wasn't removable on the original figure, so you never really saw his hair. But I feel like they've made his hair a little bit longer. He's also got this kind of mustache with the curls. I don't really remember that on the original figure or artwork or anything. So they kind of added a little extra detailing to Recondo, I guess, to give him a little more personality. Okay, so now real quick, I just want to give you some comparisons with both the original G.I. Joe classified figures of Duke and Scarlett, and also I'm going to give you a look at the Super 7 Duke and Scarlett, which are more in keeping with their original looks. I'll also give you a comparison of the new retro cardback Recondo and the Tiger Force version. All right, so let's start off by taking a look at the Duke figure. Now, one thing I want to note is something I've noticed within the fandom of Classified is the schism that's kind of developed over those who like to see Hasbro give original characters a more modern look, which is kind of how the line started off as, or just taking the looks of the original 3 3/4 inch line and scaling it up to 6 inch, which is what we see more and more. I tend to be in the camp of liking just taking the original looks and scaling them up, which is why I do like this retro cardback Duke better than the original classified Duke. Not that I hated that one. The thing I hated the worst about the classified Duke was the actual weapons, like his rifle. So I do like the accessories better with this new one. The backpacks are actually the same, just the new one is more, the colors are more in keeping with the original toy. And then also you have the Super 7 7-inch scale Duke figure, which I was not terribly impressed with overall. So out of the three here, the new retro cardback classified Duke is my favorite version of Duke in this kind of 6 to 7 inch scale. Next up, we've got Scarlett, and I definitely am liking this new Scarlett better. So as far as face sculpts go, definitely, I'm not a fan of the Super 7 one. There was multiple head sculpts with the Super 7 one, but this was the best one of the three, in my opinion. But between the original classified and this new one, it's kind of a hard to say for sure. I definitely like the darker red color over that lighter, almost orange red color of the original classified figure. I like the accessories better between the original classified and the new one. However, I will tell you, I actually like the crossbow. The best crossbow of the three is the Super 7 one. I even kind of like the quiver that is a separate piece that you can just do around her shoulder and stuff, as opposed to the one that's attached to the belt. This one on the original figure, I was never a huge fan of, the original classified figure, that is. So, but again, overall, out of the three figures, I am definitely preferring the new retro cardback classified Scarlett. And then for your final comparison, we have the new retro cardback Recondo with this Tiger Force one that was a Target store exclusive. These are the exact same figures as far as sculpting and accessories. They're just repainted. So this one has the darker colors and everything, but this one, of course, is more in keeping with the original 3 3/4 inch figure, which is what I prefer. So if you have this one, though, the Target one, then you know what to expect with this new one. Again, just with more in keeping with his original look and colors. Now, just some other quick notes on these between the two classified figures. So with Scarlett, you get double hinged elbows. On this new one, you only had single hinged on the original. For the knees, you have pinless knees. On the new one, you had pins on the original. So those are definitely improvements. Otherwise, articulation is very similar between the two. But again, definitely some improvements between this new one and the original one. And then with the Duke, same thing. So with the original Duke, you did have double hinged elbows, but you had the pins. And on this new one, you have double hinged elbows without pins. And then on the knees, again, double hinged knees, but no pins on the new one, whereas you did have the pins on the original one. So again, just a nice improvement. Otherwise, articulation is pretty much the same. Both have butterfly joints at the shoulders, where you might say the original Duke had a little better articulation over this new one is with the ab crunch. So on this original Duke, you had your traditional ab crunch type joint. So he could crunch down about that much. On this one, it is not what I call a true ab crunch. So he can still bend down some there at the midsection, but not as good as on the original. You of course, do have rotation there, and you have some pivot to the left and the right. You also get pivot at the waist on this one, whereas on this figure, I guess you had pivot at the waist as well. So really, again, where the one area where you might like this original Duke over the new one is just with the ab crunch. So there you go. That's my review. So overall, I definitely am liking these new retro cardback figures. In fact, so much so that I probably will end up buying a second set of these just so I can keep a set on the cardbacks and then open up the others. I do think the figures themselves overall are improvements over the original classified figures. I also like the Duke and the Scarlett, this new Duke and Scarlett, better than the Super 7 Ultimate versions, which of course do cost more. In all honesty, I've not been terribly impressed with the Super 7 G.I. Joe Ultimate figures. So, now, of course, I'd love to hear your own thoughts about these figures if you've added them to your collection down in the comments section below. Like this video if you're so inclined. It does help with the algorithm. Hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so you're alerted every time I upload a new video. As always, guys, stay safe out there, and until next time, I'll catch you later. Thanks for watching today's video. Now, if you're new to the channel, please think about hitting that subscribe button. Also hit the bell notification so you're alerted every time I upload a new video. For all the latest action figure news, be sure to head over to toynewseye.com, marvelousnews.com, JediInsider.com, and tformers.com. And remember, action figures are great,